Hey, all right. We are ready to have a live call-in show. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me, please. If someone could put something in the chat. We have this going out right now to YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And I don't know if it's working, but we're going to give it a try. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Awesome. Anna Marie, great to see you. She is a awesome YouTube channel member, supporter. She's also in the Patreon too. I did want to shout out Richard Smock for becoming a YouTube member today. Thank you so much. Any of the support from things like that go towards becoming full-time with the podcast and also starting to go on travel trips to interview people live for the podcast. 1 minute here. For example, so making a few trips this year. I want to talk about that real quick before we get into the show. You can see me at the Van Meter Visitor Festival in Van Meter, Iowa, end of September of this year. You can also see me at Monster Fest 2 in Canton, Ohio in June. And I'll be at the Sasquatch Summerfest in Oak Ridge, Oregon. Not vending or speaking or anything, but just kind of hanging out and trying to interview people live or in person for the podcast, right? Excuse me. Because as it turns out, that's one of the best places. Everyone's seen a Bigfoot out there. So hopefully you'll be able to get some great encounters live and in person. But let's see who we've got here. I'm going to shout a few people out real quick. All right, we got Brian S. What's up, Bigfooters? Evening from Venice Beach, California. Good to see you. Gene, good to see you as well. We've got Lulu Bell. Good to see you. Anna Marie's here. And let's see, we got Deborah Davis. Good to see you. Phyllis Harrison, hear you fine. We got Black Magic Man Jay. We got Marcy James. We got Brian Corbin. Thank you so much for being here, friend. We got Lane Miller. Oh, man, we got a ton of people. We got Rocky Top. Good to see you. We've got AO, another channel supporter on YouTube. Great to see you, friend. All right, so let's get into it. We've got a few people watching right now. Things are pretty crazy with the podcast. A lot of wild stuff coming up, so you want to make sure that you are following. Make sure you're subscribed to YouTube. Hit the bell icon so that you get notifications that I'm going live. Follow us. Subscribe to. We're on all major podcast platforms. We come out with plenty of episodes every week and lots of stuff on YouTube as well, trying to up the production value. As you can see, who liked that intro I put together? Did you guys like that intro? I thought that intro was pretty sweet. Someone let me know if it was cool or not. Maybe it's just for me. Michelle, coming to South Carolina? Well, it's not out of the question, but we'll see. Maybe in the future. Black Magic Man Jay, love all your shows. Thank you. Cool Breeze, good to see you from Sacramento. All right, Facebook is working. Taflo Beans, following you pages. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate Planet X giving a $2 sticker. Guys, any gifts that are given, and you don't have to give gifts, but if you decide to, it does go directly towards getting out there and getting the stories recorded, getting the accounts recorded so that I can help other people deal with what they've seen. So that's what any gifts will go towards. Let's see, Rocky Top here. Intro was amazing. Lane, we're looking down in Oklahoma for Bigfoot. Oh, you got tons of stuff down there. All right, let me make sure the phone is revved up here. All right. So here's how it's going to work, guys. and gals and pals. So the way that it works is in the YouTube description, there's a link to a Google form, and it's a guest release form. You have to click on that form, fill it out. That allows you to be recorded and allows me to use your account tonight if you call in to on the podcast, right? So I'll put it in the podcast as well, and then it'll give you a phone number, and I'm also going to put the phone number up on the screen. So I just ask that you fill out that guest release form so that we're all on the up and up. But I'm going to go ahead and I've actually got a ticker. See, I'm trying to get better at this, guys. So there's a phone number right there, 515-809-0165. If I don't pick up because I'm on another call, I will call you back. So just leave a message. But yeah, we are hanging out. Let's see, Lane, what part of Oklahoma are you in? Are you in the southeast part? Although from what I found out, it doesn't matter if you're in southeast Oklahoma. My goodness. Yeah. As Can Squatch says, Oklahoma is crawling with boogers, which imagine if you heard that sentence if you weren't into Bigfoot, and you would be like, what is going on in Oklahoma? Well, the real ones know, right? We got little one Nair watching from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Enjoy your show. I appreciate you watching. That's a pretty squatchy area as well. Let's see. I'm going to double check. Okay. So it looks like StreamYard is doing a thing where it's not putting the Instagram comments in. So I'm going to pop over there real quick. Hidden in the Shadows podcast. How does one call in? I have the number on the screen now. Joey, Jeremiah, I have an encounter for you if you're interested. Yeah, definitely. Feel free to call in, friend. XV Planis, yeah. Stop by our booth to chat about your journey, Monster Fest 2. I remember you from last time. All right, cool. I'm going back to it. Let's see. Lane, South Central Texas border. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Who did I just talk to? I talked to a wild one that's coming out. I want to say not next week, but the week after. The lady she was staying in a trailer, and she had Sasquatch on her property, still does, and it just every night almost getting pushed over. Crazy stuff. Lane, go check out Brown Springs. Yeah, I'm going to be talking to a gentleman soon about Brown Springs on the podcast. Ryan Edwards, I just need to set up a time with him. But let's see. WC Strawberry Fields, New Mexico Rockies, they're here, even in the high desert foothills. Absolutely. Oof. Let's see. All right, we got Chandros 101. I have an encounter, but this is the first time here on YouTube. Left Instagram and on YouTube now. Where's the form I have to fill out? I saw a little white monkey and later in life had interaction. Wow, interesting. Okay. So if you're on YouTube and you go to the description, like the show notes, it's going to be right at the top. There is a link. And I'm going to try to see for future episodes if I can make that easier for people to get to somehow. So bear with me on that. But Chandros, you're welcome to call in, but you just have to do. Let's see. Actually, I wonder. Maybe I could do something real quick. All right, so I'm going to try to do some bit.ly action real quick, guys. So bear with me. This is live. We're not going to do it in Chrome. All right. Okay, hold on, guys. Bigfoot Farm. Sweet. Okay. Hold on, guys. You're doing good. You're doing good. Appreciate you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and update the banner real quick. Okay. So all right, banner is updated. That should be easy for you to get to. So now we should be cooking with gas. You don't even have to worry about going to the episode description, guys. So all you have to do is to go to the guest release form. You go to bit.ly/Bigfoot form, and then you can fill it out. All right, here we go. 15 miles from Brown Springs, Thackville, Oklahoma. Go check out the graveyard. I don't know what that means. Fort Myers, Lehigh Acres, Florida. Sherry, hi, y'all. Glad to have caught the live. Oh, glad to see you here, pal. Chandros, I found it, so how do I call in? Well, if you filled out the form, then you call 515-809-0165 is the phone number. So we'll see if we get it to rock here. Sometimes there's not many calls, but I have a feeling there's bound to be someone across 22,000 people on YouTube, 18,000 people on a Facebook page, in 12,000 people on Instagram. There's got to be someone that can call in. In Brown Springs, there's a graveyard. Oh, wow. Interesting. Sharon, great to see you. I know it's pretty late over there in Europe, but I'm glad that you're here. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Chandros, there should be a... hold on. I'm just going to put it up. It's right there. So now we have the phone number two places. We have it scrolling. We also have it not scrolling for you. So feel free to use that information to your advantage. Just wanted to say thanks again to Planet X for doing a $2 sticker. Appreciate that. Wow, Sharon, it's 2:44 a.m. here. Wild. Oh, I appreciate you being up. Let's see what's the one. Let's see. Tomorrow, I have a archive episode. Let me look at that real quick. See, it's an episode from a year ago, but a lot of people don't remember it because there's a lot of new viewers. It's my first episode with Ken Metzger, and it's all about missing 411 related to Bigfoot in Montana. So if you don't... Oh, here we go. Every time. This technology. Every time. I love it. All right. I'm going to try it. I apologize. I'm going to try to call back real quick. Okay, it's going through my speakers. All right. Here we go.
Hello?
Hi, this is Jeremiah.
Hey, Jeremiah. How's it going?
Good. Who's this?
This is Joey. Joey on Instagram and Chondros on YouTube. I switched to YouTube because you weren't.
Yeah,
right.
Thanks for calling in, Joey. And you got the form filled out, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. So, Joey, I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I need to put on Do Not Disturb real quick. and then so we don't get disturbed during the call. But Joey, thank you for calling in. The floor is yours. Go ahead and share what you would like.
Okay, listen. First of all, I want to say I'm a big fan of your podcast, and I'm actually really kind of excited to be able to talk to you. And I've shared my story with one other person before, which I won't comment on that. But it I was one of those people that just never knew anything about this, didn't believe in anything. But when I was a little kid, and this is like in the 80s, it was like mid 80s. I was probably about 12 years old. I used to walk in the woods a lot. And I live in Maryland. And, Maryland's not supposed to be a huge thing for Bigfoot, Sasquatch, anything like that. But I was going through the woods like I used to do all the time, on the weekends and after school and stuff. I used to go to this creek and I used to wade through the creek looking for turtles and snakes and stuff like that. And I remember hearing this noise on the bark of the tree, and I looked up about 150 feet away, and not like into the wood line, but just down from me. And that's the difference, and that's why I could see it. I saw this little white monkey, and it was coming down the tree head first when I saw it. And as a little kid, I just didn't know what to make of it. I just kind of looked at it and I realized it was staring at me. And when it realized that we basically locked eyes, we were just looking at each other, it went around the tree just like a squirrel would. And so I started walking through the creek and I get out and I walk to that tree and I circled the whole tree and I couldn't see it anymore. I didn't find it. So I have no idea where it went to. But basically what it was is like a little monkey that looked kind of like a baby chimp. You know how little baby chimps look? But it was white. It didn't have a tail. I remember that. It didn't have a tail. And it was white, and it was maybe like 2 feet long from like the head to its little bottom. They had their little legs and stuff, but like the little body was maybe like 2 feet long. And I didn't know what to make of it because I was a little kid. I had never heard of cryptids or anything like that. I had no idea what that was. All I know is I saw like this little white monkey in Maryland. And we don't have monkeys here.
Oh, absolutely. And, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. And the thing about it is, as I got older, finally I like heard about Sasquatch and stuff like that. So I started reading books on it. And as I was growing up, we didn't really have the internet or anything like that. So all I could do was like grab a book here, grab a book there at the library where I could read stuff about it. And I basically left it alone for all those years till I found podcasts, and I started hearing stories about Bigfoot and Sasquatch and everything like that. And then I started hearing stuff about, what Ron Moorhead said about the Sierra Sounds. And I'm like, hold on a minute, there's something going on here. Because I'm pretty sure I saw a monkey where I know that there are no monkeys. And, in my ignorant mind, I'm thinking, well, it's just a monkey. But then the more I heard about it, the more stories I realized it's not just a monkey. I realized, wait a minute, I saw something that was pretty crazy. So I start taking the Sierra Sounds where I used to live, which was just at the bottom of the Appalachian Mountains in Maryland. I live in Frederick County, and I start blasting the Sierra Sounds out into the backwoods, into the property. Because about 400 meters back, we had a little creek basically that connected to the Potomac River. And I don't care who looks it up or anything like that. I'm not lying about it. So, but you can look it up, and the Potomac River in Maryland connects there's a trail that's called the C&O Canal that connects all the way to Ohio, and there's so many encounters in Ohio and stuff like that. So there's basically a trail through all the cities, whatever you want to call it, that's just wilderness. That's even how the coyotes and other animals have started to move down into our state through that, using that trail. But uh, I get up early, and I'll try to be as fast as I can with this. I don't mean to take up your time. I get up very early for work because the nature of my job, and I have dogs, and I have German shepherds that are German blood working German shepherds. Like, they're the kind that the police departments take, and I keep those dogs because I use them for, they're trained for protection. They're trained to protect the animals at the house. They're trained to protect the people at the house. So they're not the kind of dog that backs down from anything. We've run into coyotes. They ran the pack of the coyotes out of the area. They run the bears out of the area because they don't play. And obviously, I maintain a pack because that's where their strength is in numbers. And this one morning, this was like in 2022, I want to say, because I had started that in the fall, so it must have been in the spring of 2023. Uh, I'm going through the usual routine with the dogs to put them out and everything, and they wouldn't go outside. Like, they just froze and they would not go outside. And then, like I said, about 400 meters away in the down in the creek, I hear an exchange of what sounds to me like two chimps. Like, the way, a chimp makes a very distinct sound, like from nature documentaries and stuff like that when they go woo, like they get like that high pitch when they get excited. But it wasn't like just an animal going off. It was an interaction between two animals because I heard two distinct voices. There were no words, no, it wasn't anything like that. It was an exchange between two animals that were, I guess, for the lack of a better term, arguing between each other. But what got me was none of these dogs would go outside. Like, they were just frozen and refused to go outside. And, I've seen these dogs take off after a full grown black bear. I've seen them take off into the middle of a coyote pack, and they say, well, the coyotes will drag them out till the full pack comes in and blah, blah, blah. I've heard all those stories. I've seen it. I know what my dogs are capable of, and I've seen it done. These dogs wouldn't move off the back porch. So I left it at that. Talked to my brother about it and everything else. He was like, I don't know, man. Who knows? And about a week later, I get woken up. It was just after midnight. I get woken up, and all I can hear is just something going bam, 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 like somebody's taking a baseball bat to a tree somewhere, wood. And the area I lived in, everybody's got firearms. One of my neighbors used to constantly shoot his AR out into the targets he had back behind his property. So it's not the kind of place where you're just going to start waking up the neighbors, because the houses are far enough apart that we know if there's stuff going on, especially like with my house, everybody knew the dogs I had. If people were coming over, they would usually call and say, hey, we're coming over, make sure you got the dogs or whatever. Because you're not just rolling up on this house if the dogs are outside. And so it wakes me up, and I'm a little bit out of it and everything else. And the thing that gets me is that my dog should be up. My dog should be alerting. My dog should be barking and growling, getting ready to charge outside. And all their little beds are around our bed inside the room with us, right? And these dogs are just laying there because I woke up and I looked at them. They're laying there. They're just flat. Like if they could have dug themselves any further into the beds, they would have. Their ears are back. Their heads are completely down. And none of these dogs are making a single sound. No growls, no nothing, no barking, just down in their beds. And this is not the type of dogs that I have. Like if one of the goats started crying or something or bellowing in the backyard, they'd be up. They would be the first ones up, barking and growling and getting ready to launch themselves outside. They're hearing this huge sound that woke us up. Nothing. They're doing absolutely nothing. Now, here's the strange part, which some people may or may not believe. As soon as I picked up that phone to, start recording, to put it on video and start recording, it stopped. And when I finally put the phone back down because I didn't hear it again, I heard it, but it was much further away. And I'm not going to tell you that it's a Sasquatch because like I said, I'm just trying to be brief with this, but there's a lot more details that go into it.
Joey,
But
you're not the first
sorry,
person to say that whole you pick up the recorder and it stopped. Like, dude, I've gotten that more than one time. It's wild. But sorry, go ahead.
no, what I was trying to tell you, like I said, I'm just trying to be brief because I don't want to take up your time. But that the one thing I'll tell you honestly is that at one point when I realized that my dogs were not reacting to that, all my hair just stood up, and I cannot explain to you why that happened. It was like a very how would you call this? Like a very uh, primal, like a very primal fear. Like my all my hair just stood up, and I couldn't explain why because I had not seen anything. I didn't know what was actually out there, but it just did, and that just felt so weird. And the fact that my dogs didn't react, I cannot logically explain that because, like I said, my dogs have the biggest thing we have in Maryland is a black bear, and they're not even that big here, you know. And I've seen my dogs going after the black bears. Now, don't before anybody gets all upset about it. I don't know. Don't let them go attack a black bear or something like that. Just driving them off the property so the goats are safe. It, but they're not afraid of animals, natural animals in the woods. They run the coyotes off. The bears now know that now that the animals are full grown, that they need to give the farm a wide berth. You know what the heck was in the woods that night? That both those nights that scared them like that, and what did I see when I was a kid? I mean, again, I'm not going to tell you that it was a Sasquatch, but I can tell you I definitely saw a monkey in the tree that looked like a little baby chimp, and I heard what sounded to me like chimps in the creek behind our property, and I heard what sounded to me like wood knots, which is often, uh, you know, said to be a Sasquatch. I cannot tell you that's what it was because I never saw it. I can only tell you what I experienced during that encounter or during that incident, I guess you should say, and I can only tell you how my dogs reacted to it, which to me is very it's what normally happens when one of these creatures is around because the dogs were having no part of it, and that's not the dogs I have.
Joey, it's definitely a really interesting thing you're going through, and individual in the chat, Phyllis, pointed out, it's almost like, it makes you wonder, what have the dogs seen that they know that there's something out there? I think you might be on to something there, Joe. Where you saw the white monkey when you were a kid, how far away from, is that in the same area or?
That's actually, I live about 50, 60 miles from where I grew up. I mean, I left and, I've lived in other states and all that, but I came back and now I live at the foot of the Appalachian Mountains. And I'm only about 50, 60 miles from where I grew up.
It's very interesting.
And where I grew up back then was obviously, there was a lot more wilderness areas and stuff before it was all built up. So it was definitely a different area back in the 80s than what it is now.
I would say definitely keep me in the loop. I think stuff is probably going to keep happening for you unless you put up like game cams or something around your property. They usually tend to go away because of the IR. But let me know. You can send me an email, bigfootsociety@gmail.com, if you have any updates in the future. But thank you for calling in and sharing what's going on your property.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I just wanted to get that out there to you. I've been meaning to talk to you for a while, and I don't mean to take up your time, so I just wanted to share that with you. I'll email you and I'll let you in on more of the details of what actually happened, but that's basically a brief summary of what it was. But I definitely saw a little white chimp in a tree when I was a little kid. I just didn't know what it was at that time.
That's wild. Also, see if you can, if you're in good relations with any neighbors, talk to your neighbors, see if they're having weird stuff going on too. I'd be curious to know if it's just your place or if it's the people around you too.
The neighbors is a hard thing to breach.
Gotcha.
But,
okay. All right.
I'll try.
We'll leave it there then.
It's, I mean, it's hard to go up to somebody and say, "Hey, do you think you got Bigfoot in your backyard too?" Or I don't know, but I'll work on it.
Maybe bake them some cookies too. Nothing else going on weird around your area? Just the Bigfoot stuff. Any other weird things going on?
Well, weird lights. I don't know if you get into that also. I honestly don't know if you talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, can you kind of describe what you mean by weird lights?
I guess what everybody would call like these orbs of light that just seem to go through the backwoods, and it's not a flashlight because we've already gone through that whole thing, and it's kind of the same thing. It's the dogs don't necessarily react the same way that we heard those sounds or when we felt the presence of something else. It's not exactly like that, but you can tell that the dogs get tense. And I always, I've always been out in the woods. I grew up in the woods, so I read my dog's body language, and I can tell when there's an animal around, when there's something that they need to take care of, when there's a predator, when there's prey, and dogs just have a certain body language.
Absolutely. Yeah, they really do.
And when we heard those sounds, you could just tell they were scared. Like they wanted no part of it. When I see these lights, they just tense up. And as a matter of fact, my sister and my brother-in-law are here, and they're from Michigan. And my brother-in-law has this huge property up in Michigan in the Upper Peninsula where he does a lot of hunting. I've been up there fishing and hunting with him before, and he's got these game cams up, and he actually has taken pictures of these orbs that I don't really have any game cams because, it's just the backyard to me. But he's actually taking pictures of these, caught them on the game cams of these
Mm,
orbs. And I don't understand how a light triggers a motion sensor. But
yeah.
uh, but I've seen these lights back in the woods over the creek and into that area,
What
and
color?
I've seen white and I've seen blue.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I don't know what to make of it, and I have weapons. Like I could go down there and see if it's a human being or something walking around in the creek with a flashlight or something. But the way it moves, clearly it's not. And sometimes you see them up like in the higher canopy of the trees, and then they just kind of go off and do their own thing. But I just I see them, but I try not to pay too much attention to them because truthfully, I guess I feel like if I pay attention to it, then it's going to pay attention to me, and I don't really want that.
Absolutely.
But uh, but I've seen a lot of those orbs going through the trees, and at times I've seen lights flying overhead, and not like the orbs. They're different than the orbs. It's like a shoot. You're really going to think I'm crazy now.
No, no,
I-
I'm
I've
not. Go ahead.
I've seen like these silver. This is like in broad daylight. I've seen like a silver thing shaped like an egg hovering over the house one time.
Okay.
And as soon as I pulled out my phone to try to record it, it just shot up straight up and it was gone. And as a matter of fact, just last weekend, as I was outside grilling, this is like I said, this is in the middle of the afternoon where the sun's out, you can see everything clearly. I saw a round one, a round silver ball just hovering, and when I looked up at it, it started to fly away. So again, I pull out my phone to start recording it. As soon as I do that, it's
Mm.
gone. So I'm
Wow.
not I'm not I'm not crazy, Jeremiah.
Well,
I'm
no one's saying
not
you
lying.
are, and you're calling into the right place where we don't call people crazy because you're free to just share your story, and we're trying to all figure it out together, man.
So I guess this would be other strange things that I've seen in the sky. Like I said, I cannot tell you 100% that I've seen a Sasquatch. I can
Mm.
tell you I've seen a little white monkey in a tree. I can tell you for a fact that I've heard chimps in the creek behind that lead down to the C&O Canal. I've heard what quote unquote sounds like wood knocking,
Mm-hmm.
and I see white and blue orbs going through the trees in the back where the creek runs a lot of times, and I have seen these other things. So I don't know what all that means, but I don't know. I just figured you're the guy to reach out to and talk to about this kind of stuff because nobody else is going to believe me. My sister laughs at me. She's my brother-in-law. He's a hunter too, and
Yeah.
he when they're in Michigan now, but when he was still here in Maryland, they had some property up near PA. He was actually run out of his deer stand by
Really?
something that was growling at him, and he and I are kind of on the same page, but he just won't talk to me about it. But he said he actually got down at a deer stand, walked out into the cornfield that he was overseeing, where the deer was supposed to be coming through, because he was scared to go back into the woods. And he was, and mind you, we're both ex-military. This guy worked with special forces and everything else, so it's not like he's some sort of soft, weak guy. He's
Mm-hmm.
not. He was scared enough that he just went out to the middle of the field, called my sister, and said, "Come pick me up at this other road,"
Wow.
because he was afraid. Because the way where he had parked, he had to go back into the woods to get to his truck, and he's like, "I'm not going back into those woods." He had
Absolutely.
my sister pick him up and drive him all the way around back to his truck because he was that scared. And this is not the kind of man that gets scared. I mean, the guy's like well over 6 feet. He's
Yeah.
a big, huge guy. You know, he would, but he told me that. He said something was growling back there at me. And like I said, the biggest things we have here is black bears. Everybody knows what a black bear looks like. And in Maryland, they don't get that big. You know, it's not like we're in Montana where we're going to get a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
A black bear, you can make enough noise and run him off. You know, we're not even in Canada where the black bears get a lot bigger, where they might actually pose a threat. No, where we're at, the black bears are about 200, 300 pounds. They're, you know, if you got an arrow or a rifle, that's the last thing it wants to run into. But yeah, he was run out of his deer stand by something that he said, like, when it was growling, he said, I could feel the vibration going through me, and I wanted nothing to do with that.
Joey, I doubt he would go for this, but I mean, if feel free to pass on my info. If he ever needs to talk to anyone who's not going to judge, who's not going to make fun of him, I would love to talk to that individual. You can pass on my info, and it can be like not even for a podcast. I'll just talk to him on the side, you know, and help him work through stuff. But yeah, I mean, Joe, I feel like we might be chatting again sometime in the future because stuff is going to keep going for you. But you know, as Can Squatch said in the chat, I would recommend you really get to know your neighbors because in this situation, it'd probably be good to have someone you could call just in case, if you know what I mean. So it's always good to know your neighbors. So, but,
you know, and we do know them. I'm just like,
I got you.
really one of
I got you.
The belief that I believe in Bigfoot and Sasquatch, because like I said, I mean, I can't even imagine what my neighbors were thinking when I started call blasting. You know,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, make him some cookies, you know. But Joey, it's been fun chatting with you. I hope we chat again in the future. You can always hit me up at email bigfootsociety@gmail.com. I do want to head on. I've got a few calls to make back.
Awesome.
But it's been fun chatting with you, and best of luck.
Thanks, man. You got a great podcast, man.
Thank you. Have a good one, Joey. All right. That was good. I'm going to play the intro real quick while I get set up for the next one here. But man, Joey, what a story. He's got some stuff going on. Okay, so that was an awesome call with Joey out of Maryland. He's got some wild stuff going on. I think that I will actually be talking to him in the future. But I've got a few calls to make here. So we are going to call back, see if this person is still awake and what they've got to share.
Hello?
Hi, this is Jeremiah.
We just spoke,
Oh,
Jeremiah.
I did that again. I'm sorry, Joey. I always do this.
No,
All right.
no worries, man.
Peace.
No worries. You guys.
Guys, I always do that. Well, I've done it 2 times. All right. Okay, here we go. This is a new one.
Hello?
Hi, this is Jeremiah.
Hi,
Hi, who is this?
this is Carla.
Carla, thank you for calling in. Did you get a chance to fill out the guest release form?
Yes, I did.
Perfect. All right. Well, I appreciate you calling in. I would imagine you've got something to share, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it right over to you.
Okay, I just wanted to start with saying that I've always been interested in, fringe things like ghosts, UFOs, things like that. And when I was younger, I was interested in Bigfoot, but as I got older, I kind of realized that was the least likely of all these things to actually exist. A giant ape in the woods in the United States, and we have all this technology, and so my interest kind of waned from the whole Bigfoot thing. And then it was about 2014. I was watching YouTube, and I just had a video pop up, a suggestion for a Bigfoot video, and so I thought, all right, well, I've watched just about every kind of ghost thing there is out there, so let me just watch this. So I did, and just immediately I started having these flashbacks, and I mean, of something that it was like I guess I had forgotten about, but at the same time it seemed like I had always known. And so what it was when I was about 7 years old. I'm going to say it was about 7 years old because it was right before I moved to Florida. This is in Buncombe County, North Carolina, in the Smoky Mountains. Me and my cousin used to go and, play in the woods. This isn't right in the middle of, it's basically like a valley or in the middle of a bunch of mountains and my grandmother's house. And so my cousin and I would go everywhere. She would set us out in the morning and be like, don't come back till, the evening, till it's dinner time. And there was one part of the woods, though, that we weren't allowed to go. And it was my grandmother's neighbor. He was a grouchy old man, and he didn't want us on his property, or that's what we thought. So one day we knew he was going to be gone. And so we're like, okay, this is our chance. So my cousin and I, he was about 8, my cousin. And so we got on his little dirt bike, his little mini bike, and we went back behind that neighbor's house. And so we found this little clearing. I want to say it was probably maybe like a quarter mile back, maybe not even that much. But we came upon this clearing, and we got off the bike, and we were just, standing there walking around, looking around. And all of a sudden, I remember both of us just got freaked out, and we were both kind of like, do you want to go? Yeah, let's go. And then that's when it was the most, I swear I thought I was going to turn around and see an African lion. It was the loudest, most permeating sound that you could ever imagine. It sounded like an African lion roar mixed with an elephant, mixed with, I don't even know what. But so we turned around, and there it was. It was not a bear. It was on 2 feet. It was, looking back, like I remember at the time thinking that it was twice the size of me. So, I mean, it had to be probably 8 feet tall. but it was just standing there. It had both of its arms down to its side and its mouth open, just roaring. And I don't really remember getting on the bike. The next thing that I remember is I was on the back of the bike, and so I had a hold of my cousin's shirt with both fists, and I had my head looking down because I was scared to death and I didn't want to see anything. And you could actually feel like footsteps coming through the wheels of the bike as this thing ran after us. But I assume if it had wanted to catch us, it would have. But I never saw it. Obviously, I never turned around and looked because I was terrified. And then that's about the end of the memory. And so when I remembered this, I immediately, like I said, that was just before I moved to Florida. And so my cousin and I ended up losing touch over the years. And so immediately I got on Facebook and found him and contacted him. And I was like, did this really happen? And he just sent me like capital letters, one sentence back. He's like, I can't believe you forgot the day we saw Bigfoot. So, like I said, that was in 2014. And ever since then, I've just been completely obsessed with the subject. And even though I know that it was something that really happened, because like I said, he was there and corroborates every, aspect of it, I still kind of just, I guess I'm just trying to see another one so that I know I'm not crazy. But so yeah, that's that. I've had a few things happen since then, but that's the big thing.
That is wild. My goodness. So you mentioned the county. Is there a specific part of the county that you can kind of share? Or?
Yeah, this was in Candler, North Carolina, Candler.
Yep.
And I also, let me just say this. We used to hear, before this happened, we used to hear something screaming. And like I said, because she was down in a valley, it sounded like it was coming from all around. But we would hear things screaming in the summertime, like summertime going into autumn. And my grandmother would say that it was panthers. But now, as an adult, looking back, I know what a panther sounds like. And that's not what it was. It was kind of like the Ohio howl. And also, she was very adamant about having the curtains closed before nighttime. And we would say, why? What we would question her about it. And she would say, we have to get the windows closed before the summer man comes, or he'll peek in at you. And we were like, well, what's the summer man? And she would just say, oh, he's somebody that walks around and looks to make sure little kids are in bed. So, of course, we thought, she was just trying to get us in bed or whatever. Well, a few years back, I was watching something on Bigfoot, and come to find out that is what some of the tribes call Bigfoot. It was the summer man, because that's when he comes around. And so just between that, and she used to also talk about the catamounts. And we would say, well, what's a catamount? And we thought, it was some kind of cat, because catamount. And we would ask her, is it a cat? Is it a mountain lion? Is it a panther? And she would say no, but she wouldn't tell us what it was. And now I've come to find out that that's also something, a catamount is also something that you call Bigfoot. You can also, a lot of people also call mountain lions catamount, but it's interchangeable with mountain lions, also Bigfoot. But so looking back, I think that she knew. And my father, who was raised in that same house, he says he remembers being about 2 years old and being in a crib, and he would look up at the window at night and see a monkey man looking down at him. And on more than one occasion. So, yeah, looking back, I think she knew, and I think that activity was always happening around there. They did, let us, like I said, they would let us go and play with no boundaries, really, no restrictions. But my grandfather would always say, if you're out playing and the woods go quiet, run, get out of there. And he used to always drill that into us. So, yeah, I think they both they both had some experience with it. And my grandmother grew up in northern Georgia, so I think she knew what these things were, and I think she knew they were around there in Buncombe County in North Carolina. So, yeah, that's about it.
Oh my goodness, is that still in the family, that property?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Matter of fact, the cousin that was with me that day, he owns that house. He owns her house now because she's obviously passed. But
I gotta talk to that cousin. You gotta pass on the info to the cousin, because the cousin is still having issues. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, I haven't talked to him in a couple of years, but yeah, he's just a message away on Facebook. So. Oh please. But yeah. It's really weird because, like I said, it's like now that I remembered it, it feels like that memory was always there. And the weird thing was, like I said, Bigfoot was the last thing that I thought was real, even though I had already had this incident and didn't remember it. So yeah, very strange. We got a few questions, if that's all right. That's fine.
All right. So yeah, here's some interesting ones. So Squatch and Holler says, was there water near the woods you weren't supposed to go into?
There were, like now that I go and look at it on Google Maps, there is water. I didn't know it at the time. But we were told never to go into the cornfields up at the top of the hill. And I feel like I remember having been chased out of the cornfield a couple times, but in my memory it was by a man. So I don't know. I might want to ask my cousin about that. So
yeah, I would think so. that could be interesting too.
Yeah.
Going back into what you remember, Can Squatch has a good question. Did anything stand out about the mouth or the face from what you saw?
The mouth, well, I mean, the mouth was open because it was basically screaming, but the face is hard for me to recollect. I do remember that it was more man looking than, because at no point did I think that we had seen a giant monkey. Like, that never crossed my mind. So I want to say that it looked more human-like, and it was just confusing, Yeah. But yeah, its mouth, it was open, it was screaming, and I guess maybe it just wanted to run us out of there. And like looking back, I wonder if that's why we weren't allowed to go back there. And actually, now that I think about it, yeah, there was a pond with I don't know what kind of fish it was, but he had his own little pond where he used to go fishing in, the older gentleman by my grandmother's house. So yeah, and that was all right around in that area. So yeah, and then seems like there was something else I was going to tell you. Oh, in that area also, when I was younger, I remember my grandmother telling me about how a little girl had disappeared. Her mother was out, I guess she was putting clothes on the line or something, and I think this probably would have been, I was little, so I was born in 77, so this was in the late 70s, early 80s probably, unless it had happened earlier. But my grandmother would tell me about this little girl who had disappeared up down the holler somewhere, and her mother had been out hanging clothes on the line and turned around and she was just gone. And I mean, within 10 seconds, and there's, from the way my grandmother described it, there's no way that a person could have grabbed that baby and taken off. And then they never found her. So.
Oh boy. Also, another question about when you had that visual and that experience. Do you remember how that scream made you feel in that situation?
I mean, it almost was so loud that I feel like I almost went into shock, because like I said, I don't remember anything from the time we saw it until the time we were down the trail, riding away as fast as we could. But I could feel it. It was, it just, like I said, permeated every inch of your body. My insides were jiggling, and but yeah, sheer terror. Sheer terror is how it made me feel.
My goodness. That's This is so intense. Wesley, that was from Squatch and Holler, guys. Make sure you follow his channel. He's got some incredible interviews as well. Wesley from the chat, did you hear 3 pop or knock noise at all during the situation?
Not during the situation, but we did hear what I now know are wood knocks back then. And, you know, like I said, at the actual encounter, there could have been, I have no idea, because we weren't paying attention. We were just little kids, you know, rooting around. We had a stick. We were making, seems like I remember we were making designs in the dirt with a stick or something like that. And we just both got creeped out at the same time. And then that's when it happened. And it's weird because as much as it sounds just like a lion roaring, there was also like an elephant trumpet kind of thing going on, because I was at the zoo a couple years ago and the elephant was right next, and it just brought back memories. So it was kind of a mixture of noises, but it was to this day the loudest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I mean, I can't even describe to you the volume.
You said it sounded like an elephant trumpet noise as well?
Yeah, like a lion roaring, but mixed with an elephant trumpeting. It was, that's the best I can describe it.
Guys in the chat, let me know, have you ever heard a description? I've heard description of like lion roar, but the elephant trumpet at the same time, that's totally new for me. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I just remember when I heard it at the zoo that it immediately made me go back to that. So, but yeah, there's a lot of it. Like when we ran, that's blocked out, and the next thing that I remember is just having my cousin's shirt in both my hands, squeezing his shirt and looking down and just waiting for something to pull me off the back of that bike.
You know, I'm not surprised at all that your brain made you forget this, you know, just as a few people in the chat said, you know, it was to protect you, so that you could live and not have to deal with it, but it came back to you. Did anything else weird happen when you were in that area that, you know, you may not attribute to Bigfoot, but you can remember, oh, there's other weird stuff that happened as well?
Orbs. We would see orbs, and I remember that because my grandmother would say that it was the ghosts of pioneer women who had been slaughtered. I mean, you know, just trying to scare us. But yeah, we would see orbs in the light. I mean, in the woods, and it would look almost just like somebody walking with a lantern where there wouldn't have been anybody. So, but other than that, in that particular area, I don't remember anything. But I did have one more experience in North Carolina, and this is just real quick. This was in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, or more like North Cove. There's a big factory that I used to work at. Anybody that knows the area would know what I'm talking about. But we had gotten off one night, and this Finding Bigfoot actually did an episode in Spruce Pine, where I'm at right now, and where this took place. So it has a history of Bigfoot activity. But anyway, I was leaving work. This would have been maybe 3 years ago now. Got off work one night, and there's a big stretch late at night. It's a pretty lonesome road. And so I was driving down the road, and a coworker was in a car near me. And at first I thought what was a bear was about to cross. This is kind of woo, but this is what I saw. It was what I thought was a bear was running across the road in front of me, because it kind of reminded me of bare legs, except that I couldn't see anything above the legs. It was like there was half of something, and then the top half just wasn't there. And then the more that it came into the road, the legs were way too far apart to be, maybe if it was a giant polar bear, but not the black bears we have around here. There was probably 6 feet between the front legs and the back legs. And Yeah, I slammed on my brakes. The car next to me slammed on their brakes, and he ended up rolling down his window and was like, "What the F was that?" And, I don't know what that was, but it wasn't a bear, and it wasn't, the only thing I can think of is maybe it was a Sasquatch on all fours. But then every time he would see me in work after that, he would be like, "Hey, Sasquatch sister." But yeah, so that was another thing. That's about an hour from where my childhood encounter happened. But yeah, so that's another thing that I've seen.
Carla,
No idea about that.
Holy mackerel. Probably it's in my top coolest people encounters I've talked to. I mean, Carla, your story is awesome. And definitely, if you can, pass on my info to the cousin and be like, hey, just in case you're having weird stuff going on, there's a guy that would talk to you and not make fun of you. And
yeah, definitely will.
So, wow, thank you for
and I'll call back another time because I do have another one that's even crazier than those two. But yeah,
Next
it's more
time.
on the woo side. Yeah.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for calling up, and we'll talk to you next time, Carla.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
My goodness. That was awesome. That was legit. We are still, we're still going strong. We had a gentleman, First Nations man here, 45 years old. I have a lot of stories. When is the live stream over? Guys, we're kind of just going. So you can see there's a scrolling banner here. If you can go to the link first, bit.ly/Bigfoot forum, there's a guest release form that you'll want to fill out first. That allows you to call in. It's recorded for a podcast, and then the phone number is right behind it. So let me make sure. Actually, I should check to see if there's any others. Not yet, but let me put do not disturb off here. Man, what a great night. This has been a fantastic night. Listen, friend. I would love to talk to you, but be nice. Yeah, if you would like to call in, I definitely would offer you to be able to call in. So definitely, but yeah, we're having a fun time. We're having a good time. Oh no, there's no such thing as taking up too much time for sure. All right, let me double check a few other places real quick. Man, guys, make sure you're subscribed. We got 87 people live. It's a ton of people. I appreciate y'all being here. And I'm not even looking at the other platforms as well. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Yeah, remember last week we were all just chatting? Exactly. I think putting it out to certain platforms at the same time is going to be a good idea. So thank you so much to Carla and to Joey. Yeah, there's so many people in the chat saying, can squash. No way, Carla. That was awesome. Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. Gene, thank you for calling. Carla, I appreciate all the questions that were put in the chat as well as very helpful. And we were able to get some really good discussion from those questions. So thank you to those that were able to give those questions. I'm going to go ahead and let's see, here we go. Put that up there. Let me double check the phone. We've been going for over an hour, but we're still going good. I'm going to give you a few minutes to see if anyone else wants to call in. Wagashig Man 2019. If you want to call in, you're definitely more than welcome. We're kind of just chilling out here. The whole Summer Man thing was intense. I'm gonna need to look more into that. Watch, there'll be another interview next week where there'll be a person that says about the Summer Man. That's just the way it works. Guys, if you're new, what we're doing is we're doing a live call-in show. This is Bigfoot Encounters Live with the Bigfoot Society Podcast. We've got 94 people here hanging out. If you do have a Bigfoot encounter, you're welcome to call in. There's a guest release form I would have you fill out first, bit.ly/Bigfoot Forum. It's in the scrolling banner at the bottom of the screen. That allows you to call in, and it also allows me to use it in the podcast as some audio. And then you can just call my number here. You can call the Bigfoot Society phone here, 515-809-0165. And then we will chat. We've had some awesome accounts tonight. If you're just coming in, you'll want to make sure you hit the replay. Joey called in from Maryland about how he saw a smaller 2-foot white monkey on a tree as a little kid, and then how he's having some interesting things happen around his property with wood knocks, etc. And then Carla just called in with some wild stuff that happened to her as a young child, how they're pretty much rushed at. And hopefully we hear from the cousin in the future who still owns the property. And I would guess they still have Bigfoot activity even to this day. So wild stuff. Wild stuff. But yeah, if you've got we'll give you a few more minutes. We'll see if there's any other people calling in. The lines are still open. You can call 515-809-0165. Just make sure you fill out the guest release form first. That's bit.ly/Bigfoot Form. Bonnie Mullen is here. Good to see you. I hope everyone's having a good Saturday night. I will watch the replay. It's so good to hear. It's so good to see everyone here tonight. I agree. It's great to see almost 100 people hanging out in a live on a Saturday night, chilling out, listening to people share their Bigfoot encounters, some for the first time in a situation where people aren't going to make fun of them. And we're here to learn. Interesting. Yeah, maybe that's the third noise that I could mix in there from Carla. A T-Rex with an elephant and a lion. Whew. That is wild. Alan, great to see you. Hello, old friend. I hope you're doing well. Hope things are okay. Good to see you, Alan. Yeah, we've got a lot of different people here hanging out. If you haven't, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, please. And make sure that you hit the bell. The bell is important because the bell will let you know when I'm going live with one of these next. That's very important. If you don't listen to the Bigfoot Society podcast, you want to make sure that you listen to that. It's on all major podcast platforms, and I put out a few episodes every week, and I'm talking to different individuals, their Bigfoot encounters. So if you like shows like Sasquatch Odyssey, Bigfoot Chronicles, Sasquatch Chronicles. Guys, I'm a busy guy. I don't listen to a lot of other podcasts. Mitzi, any news stories from Iowa? Did you hear what happened at the spot this last August yet, Mitzi? Let me know. I can share. I think you know, though. I'll just share it in case there's new people. So I go to a place the last 2 years in Iowa with Tate Hieronymus, and the first year we camped out way out in the woods, and there's a tree pushed over in front of our campsite. We had wood knocks last night around 3:30 a.m. I was in a tent by myself, and my audio recorder got wood knocks and a noise of a tent being unzipped, which was really freaky because I didn't leave the tent. Then this last summer, I went out with hey, Hollow Sky Podcast. What's up, my dudes? Went out with Tate and some other individuals, Ron Man Reed, Ontario, Richardson, others. And it was a wild time. The weirdest thing was the last night around 3:30, I woke up to 2 whoops out in the woods, and I was alone in my tent. It was horrifying. Another individual, Ron, heard a long call or a howl at the other side of the campsite. The same area has had a visual sighting a mile or so away in the same area about 5 years ago. So, yeah, the zipper incident, we'll leave it at that. Wow. Okay, Carly, you can almost see the noise, Eve, when it screamed, if that makes any sense. Vibrated my eyeballs. Whoa. Huh. Yeah, thank you, Can't Squatch. Definitely. Lori, thanks, Carla. I had same reactions to my sightings and just am kind of relieved to know someone else had the same feeling reactions to it. That's wild. Here's an interesting one. Bonnie, as a child very, very long ago, it was late night, dark in my room, and I got hugged or pulled on by what I believed to be a Bigfoot in my room. I pulled the hair and had hair fur in my hands. That's very interesting. That sounds like an encounter that would definitely stick with you. We're going to give a few more minutes to see if Mr. Wagashig Man 2019. We still got time, guys. We're probably going to go until we'll keep going. We'll give people a few more minutes, but we're having fun just kind of chatting in the comments here. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell icon. If you want to go a little bit deeper, there is we have a community set up, and I kind of have 2 of them. I have patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society. So I've started putting out members only episodes. And a lot of people are like, why are you doing just members only stuff? Well, it's because if people are going to support the podcast, which it's important that happens because that's going to allow me to go full time and to go out to actually travel to different places and to record people live, right? So if you want to support the podcast and you get extra episodes no one else can hear, you can go to patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society. It's $3 a month, the $3 tier. There's 11 spots left, and then they're going to fill up and be full forever, and then it's going to go up to $7. There's also, you can become a YouTube channel member. Both spots, you can listen to episodes early, no ads, and then the members only episodes are available for the YouTube channel members. So I appreciate everyone who supports the podcast. Lori, you're the person I talked to a few nights ago, aren't you? Lori, are you the same person? Let's see. Bonnie writes, I was only 3. We're in a forest area with lots of trees around. No one woke up in the house, and I went back to bed. Wow, that is crazy. Planet X, awesome calls tonight. I agree. It's an awesome show tonight. Julie Bug, hello all. Sorry I'm late. Hey, better late than never. Hollow Sky Podcast. So suplex that like button, everyone. That's right. If not, I'm going to start playing the Creed. I might start playing Creed anyways, guys. You know, Creed's a pretty cool band. But I'm happy to see my friends Hollow Sky Podcast. If you want to get into the weird stuff, make sure you're following my dudes at the Hollow Sky Podcast and listen to their stuff. It'll change your life. Pretty wild stuff, I'm going to say. I'm here for it. Are you 6 feet from the edge, though? Because Scott Stapp is. All right, we got a few more minutes here. Oh, guys, let me know in. All right. One thing I meant to say, this is from Carla, who we just talked to. One thing I meant to say was that looking back, I don't think this thing meant us any harm. It scared me, obviously, but I think it was just trying to get us to leave. Absolutely. I think that's most of the times with these encounters is they don't want you in their area. Yeah. Anne Marie K. Yeah, what's up? Creed is one of my faves, dude. Mine too. I love 90s Creed. Love it. Let's see, from Carla, it absolutely could have had us. We were having to traverse over potholes, tree roots, dodge trees, etc. We weren't going very fast at all, as fast as we could possibly go, but that wasn't very fast. Oh man. Such a wild account. All right, if you're here, my brother, Mr. Wagashig Man 2019, if you're here, you're still welcome to call in. The phone lines. Oh, snap. What is this? Ooh. Someone just left me a speak pipe. Oh, I can't listen to it right now. I'll have to check it out later. Bonnie Mullen, great show tonight. Absolutely. Oh, what I was going to ask you all is what festivals and events are you going to this year? I myself, so if you want to meet me this year and hang out and tell me some encounters, something that happened to you live, or in person, you can meet me at Monster Fest 2 in Canton, Ohio. Let me look up the Discord real quick. The June 28th through 29th, I'll be doing a live episode of Bigfoot Society. And I will have on the show for that live episode Justin from Cryptids of the Corn. It's going to be an awesome show. I'm very excited. That's one of the... I haven't really said that publicly yet, but if you're in the show tonight, then you know it's going to be Justin and myself doing. He's going to be on Bigfoot Society, a live show at Monster Fest. You can also, I will be at Sasquatch Summerfest in Oak Ridge, Oregon, July 19th to 21st. Not vending or not doing speaking, but I will be there trying to record people. Their live encounters for the podcast, kind of guerrilla stuff, or guerrilla style, not that kind of guerrilla. You get it. It's all right. I'll also be at the beautiful Van Meter Visitor Festival in Van Meter, Iowa. I'll be hanging out. Last year, that was a blast. I had people at my booth telling me all sorts of encounters from all over Iowa. I had an individual that showed me a track cast they made out in Iowa in the southeast. So much fun. Hollow Sky, Crypticon. Are you guys going to Crypticon? Guys, if you haven't been to Crypticon, you should go. It's a fun time. I'm not going this year, but I recommend it. It's good stuff. All right, we got a few more minutes. The Hollow Sky guys, they like to be undercover. You know, I've seen them a lot of different places. They get around. They're cool dudes. If you ever get the chance to meet the Hollow Sky guys in person, it'll change your life. Gorilla style, was that a primate joke? You know, it ended up being one. It's pretty funny. I was tickled pink about it. All right. You know what? Here's what's going to happen is that guy is probably going to call it like the last possible minute. Any sightings in Virginia, let me know. We have Lori in the comments asking if there are any sightings in Virginia. So help me out with that. No Creed. No. Well, sorry. We gotta do Creed. Creed, Creed is having a comeback right now. It's because of TikTok. It's wild. There's a whole new generation that's growing up. Let's see. Anne Marie, YouTube channel supporter, YouTube channel member, appreciate you. If anyone's in Washington State, come to Forks for Sasquatch Days over Memorial Day weekend this year. And then you can do the whole Twilight stuff too. Because the Forks Twilight stuff, oh, it's great. If you're into that classic movie series, then, go to Forks for the Twilight stuff, stay for the Bigfoot stuff is pretty much how it goes. Well, you know what? It's sad to say, but I don't think this gentleman's going to call in. Mr. Wagashig Man 2019. You're welcome to call in any future one of these. Or if you want, you can also contact me directly at bigfootsociety@gmail.com. And guys, maybe there's an individual that's watching this live right now and you're like, oh, I want to call in, but I don't want someone to recognize my voice. Or, there's all sorts of reasons, which is fine. You can always reach out to me directly. You can give me an email, bigfootsociety@gmail.com, and I'll put that up on the screen. We can go ahead and chat that way. Maybe it'll be an episode. It doesn't have to be. We can chat, though. I get a lot of emails a day. If you want to join the community, you can join patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society. Help support the podcast, but also we have live hangouts. We have Google Hangouts at the end of each month where we just chat. It's kind of like a Zoom call, but not for work. It's great. We talk about Bigfoot and all sorts of weird stuff. Also, we do a watch party where we watch stuff together using the Rave app and kind of MST3K Mystery Science Theater. Have fun with it. It's a good time. And then I do a drawing as well. Every month, I do a drawing in the Discord for the Patreon where I do drawings for usually a newer Bigfoot book. And there's some people in the Patreon that their entire bookshelf, they've said, is all Bigfoot books that they've won from the Bigfoot Society Patreon. So pretty wild. Hollow Sky, they really missed an opportunity by not putting a Sasquatch in the Twilight series. Absolutely. And I'm surprised no one has written a Twilight series ripoff of Sasquatch and Dogman. Think about it, guys. Totally could. Can Squatch will be at LBL in April. Oh, awesome. That's really cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and, I want to play the intro one more time just for people that haven't seen it. I really like this intro. It's so much fun. All right. I knew this was going to happen. Wagashig man, we're still live. We're still live because I had a feeling this is going to come down to the wire. Wagashig man, you can still call in, dude. I put the phone number in there. Check the digits, 515-809-0165. You can still call in. We still got the time. We're still live. We're still live. Planet X, I'm really digging the intro. Very cool. Props to you or whomever else helped make it. So I made it myself. That is... oh, sorry, I'm getting a call.
To accept, press 1. To send email, press 2.
Hello. Oh, snap. I don't think it's working.
Hello.
Hi there. Hi, this is Jeremiah.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for calling in. And is it Wagashig man, correct?
Yes.
Do you prefer going by that, or how would you like to go by?
We can go with my first name.
Sure. What's that?
Chris.
Did you say Chris?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for calling in, Chris. I appreciate you calling in. And you were able to go ahead and fill out the guest release form, correct?
Oh, of course.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go. Feel free. I'll go ahead and give the floor over to you, and whatever you would like to share tonight, you're more than welcome.
Yeah. 45-year-old native man from Ontario, Canada, Northern Ontario. Yeah. Where I'm very remote. I don't have phone lines into here. Like, the only way I can get through you guys today is through Starlink satellite, through Wi-Fi. So if I seem to model in the in the interview or the podcast or whatever there, that's probably the signal strength dropping a little bit. But I just wanted to share some stories I've had in my community. My community is very small. There's only maybe 2 people that live here. The reservation that's about 150 kilometers away from the nearest town. We're near the Quebec border. If you that know what Ontario looks like. I don't know which encounter to start with because they were both pretty scary. I guess the least scary one. My family and I built this cabin at this lake because we like to do fishing and hunting kind of thing all the time. Like, ever since a little boy, I would always go hunting with my father. But these encounters happened to me was like 10 years ago. The very first time I had an encounter, was just going out moose by myself. Did it all my life. Wasn't even thinking of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Sabe, whatever they call him. I parked my truck in this gravel pit and I started walking down this the gravel pit into the woods, right? Because I had heard a moose calling in the background. And when I got off the gravel pit, I could see the lake where this moose was at. So I'm walking down this little trail. I think it's a game trail, like animals that there's no humans that use it. So that's what I was following, just because it's nice and clear, and it was in the direction of the lake. And I was just trying to fast access to get to that moose. So I started walking down this trail, it's about maybe 12 miles I have to go to where I'm hearing this moose in the ground. I'm walking for 5 or 10 minutes. Everything's, it's normal. It's the middle of the day. It's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And, I just go around this little bend in the trail, and then I come across a structure that was blocking the trail. I was just wondering, well, that's kind of weird. I've never seen anything like that around here before. And, well, how am I going to get around it? So I started looking to the sides and everything to avoid going over this tall structure. And the sides were all brushy, and it was way too thick. I would have got tangled up in there very badly. So I knew I couldn't do that. So I started looking at the structure again, and I'm looking at how it's placed, right? Because where we are, it's pine tree. And, these 10-foot-long pieces of wood are stacked on each other. Kind of like going up on like a little slant. So it's rather to climb that thing. So I slung my rifle on the back and I started climbing. I get to the top and standing up, I'm about, 9 or 10 feet off the ground. So after I looked at how high it was and turned around, I started making my way back, to get down the other side of this structure. And as I'm looking down at the very top of this pile, and there's this, there's a perfectly square hole. And I said, well, oh my God, that's weird. These trees land like this, and so I start looking at the trees I'm crawling over because I got sap all over my head. Like, these are fresh trees, and they weren't cut with anything. They just look like someone, just snapped them off and placed them there. I thought, oh my God, that's really cool. I've seen that before. I wonder what's going on here, Maybe it's some kid, I don't know. I turned my head back to this, hole, this dark hole that's in the shape of almost a square, on top of this pile, and I lay down on my stomach, and I'm looking down this hole because it's really dark in there, right? And I'm looking at the bottom, letting my eyes adjust. And all of a sudden, I see this little, white flash, right? I was like, what is that? I thought, maybe it's an animal that's running across. And finally my eyes adjust, right? To the dark I'm looking into, and I don't know how I'm looking, and I see this face looking up at me. And it's a black, it's got hair. People like to say Sasquatch look like they're human looking, but this thing had our features as humans, but very distorted. They look nothing like the ones out west. They're totally down here. And he's grinning at me. He's flashing his teeth. He's, big black eyes, and he's staring at me and just grinning, grimacing, and just looking at it. What the heck can that be, man? Never seen it before. I gotta be seeing things. So I close my eyes, I rub my eyes. I count to 5, and I look again, let my eyes adjust, and it's still there. And it's got this freaking grin on his face. And, that scared the crap out of me. So, I just stood up, and I threw my rifle down, and this whatever this thing is, this pile of trees, and I jumped from the top to the bottom. I grab my gun, and I start running back this hill up towards the gravel pit to my truck. Because it's quite a ways away, half kilometer, maybe a kilometer away. And as I'm running, I keep hearing this, this weird sound behind me. I've never heard it before. It's like, wah, wah, but really deep, right? I could never lower my voice like that. And, trees start snapping, and I start hearing whoops and hollers, even further back than this thing was. So I just friggin' ran to my truck, sat there, collected myself, and I got home. I made it home in record time. And to be honest with you, I don't even remember the drive home. I just remember looking, in the mirror and wondering if these things were going to try and chase me or whatever, right? Unfortunately, nothing like that happened. It seems like they just chased me out of that area. And once I got to my vehicle, I didn't see them anymore. I couldn't hear them anymore. So, another year passes, okay? And, so I'm going to go hunting again in that spot, There's no way I've seen what I've seen there. No way I'll see another thing like that, whatever that was, right? That's once in a lifetime stuff, man. And, so, I go down there and go and walking down the game trail again, and I'm looking around for that structure, and it's not there anymore. So, I start circling out the circle, trying to track it, right? Where am I go? Where all this material? And I did that for about, 500 meters. And, there's no sign of these trees are gone. Nothing, there's nothing there. I shook my hand, just wondering, am I going crazy? What happened here? So, same as before, I just parked at the gravel pit. I start walking the game trail. Anyways, I started hiking, out this lake because I want to see if there's moose back at that lake way in the back there. So I get my rifle out, and I've just got it over my shoulder, just walking down the trail, looking at things. I'm not thinking anything, but I'm just out doing my thing, hunting, to put meat in the freezer for my family and my community members, right? But then, everything's quiet, like eerily quiet. I've never heard the bush go that quiet. Oh my God, that's so strange. But to me, as a hunter, when that happens, that's a good sign for me because I can hear what I'm hunting way better, right? And that's just the way I view that. So that really didn't scare me. So I just kept going. So I start walking towards the lake again, and sure enough, there's a bull moose back there, and I'm almost at the lake by this point, well within shooting distance of this moose. So I load the rifle, and I take aim, do the practical things of being a good hunter, right? You gotta look where your shot's gonna go. You gotta make sure nobody's around and all that kind of stuff. Where your bullet's ultimately gonna end up. So I'm doing that. I'm aiming at the moose. I got him where I'm gonna place my shot. And all of a sudden, I hear this loud snap behind me. Right away, my brain thinks, "Oh my God, there's something here with you. This is a bear, this is a moose. You better defend yourself." So, around 180 degrees, bam, there's a freaking. Well, what I thought right away was, "Oh my God, it's a freaking demon," because that's how ugly and scary this thing was. I think it was a juvenile because, I'm 6 foot tall and, I don't know, like 220 pounds. And this thing that's standing there is, it's absolutely ripped in muscles and long hair. And just standing there looking at it, point my rifle at it. And he's looking at me, looking at the rifle, me and the rifle. And then while he's doing that, he starts opening his lips curled up like it flipped, like almost like a switch. And when he did that, he was just staring at my rifle, right? And I was just thinking, "Oh my God, this thing is so ugly." And, this sounds like, I guess people call it woo or whatever, but when I thought that, I said, oh my God, this fucking thing is ugly, man. This thing is, it's deformed and everything. It's ugly. And then right away, it felt like, I got this thought in my head, like, fuck you, you're ugly, And I thought, oh my God. So I shook my head and I was still pointing the rifle at it. It's got these teeth that are in the shape of triangles, like a shark, right? And these teeth they're stained yellow and they're cracked, broken off, some of them, but they look like shark teeth. And so I start looking at the rest of the face. It's got a big, flat, wide nose, big nostrils, pure black face, like almost like Vanta Black, man. Like it was absorbing light almost. And I'm looking at its eyes. Well, I got to be careful when I say I'm looking at its eyes here because it does have two eyes, right? But like our faces, one eye is where it was supposed to be, up on the eye socket orbital bone there, and his other eye was a good inch below that, so his eyes didn't line up. And I'm just looking at it, and I go back to thinking, oh my God, my rifle! I'm still pointing my gun at this thing, I'm threatening this thing. I'm looking at the rest of his body. He's got these, maybe 3 to 4 inches long hair. It's hair because I see it, it's blowing in the wind. And then I'm looking at its torso area. It was built like us, but just extremely muscular. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't hold a candle to this thing in his best days. And then, he's got hair on his chest, but it looks like on his right side, he's missing hair, and it's raw and bloody there, like scrape marks and stuff. Like, I don't know if that's from, I don't know, whatever they do, if he's climbing trees or he's crawling on the ground or whatever, but that part really stuck out to me. And cognizant of my rifle at this time, right? Because I'm not practicing good sportsmanlike conduct, right? I'm going to be careful with this gun. So I'm thinking, okay, we got to de-escalate this whole situation here. Like, you guys are, like, this thing is just standing right there in front of me, right at the tip of my barrel. Like, it can reach up and grab me anytime it wants. And I say it can grab me because this fucking thing has hands on it. And it's got these, long claws. Well, they're not claws. They're like maybe half an inch to an inch long past where the fingers end, Those are all black and cracked. So I got to de-escalate this, man, because I'm looking at this thing, and I got a 30-06 rifle, and I'm looking at it. I'm thinking this is not going to be enough gun. And that's a big rifle. This thing was so jacked. I thought, oh my God, if you're going to shoot this thing, you're going to have to shoot it in the eye. And then bam, again, right, I get this thought, like, don't shoot. So I start lowering my rifle very slowly because, I don't know if I can trust this thing. This thing looks like a fucking demon, man. I don't know what it's going to do to me. But I don't know. I was de-escalating things, so that's what I did. I lowered the rifle very, very slowly. While I was doing that, his lips were closing over his teeth. And once I had the rifle pointed at the ground, there was no more teeth. It was just lips. Now that things are de-escalated, this thing takes 2 steps backwards, puts its palm out to me, its right palm, like we tell people to stop. And then he leans back into, you know how we do like when we were kids in the gym, we would do like a crab walk? Well, he was doing that, but he had his hand up saying stop to me like that, right? And so, you know, I told him, well, fuck it, man, just do what your gut tells you. So I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, opened it, looked at it, and still there, you know. And I'm terrified out of my mind here. Like, you know, I'm almost, I don't know, man. I think if just the average person sees what I saw, I genuinely believe their heart could stop just from seeing their face. Maybe that's why they hide their face. I don't know. But yeah, I just leaned my 30-06 rifle against, you know, a tree that was beside us. And I started talking in Cree to it because this thing is giving off this vibe like it's old, right? But I'm looking at it and I know it's not old. It's like a juvenile almost. But it's still giving me this like ancient feeling, right? So right in my brain thinks, start talking Cree to it, right? Because that's your language. You know, and so I do that. I shkak, you know. And this thing's just looking at me. I just look at it and said, I'm not going to hurt you. You're not going to hurt me. We can hurt each other, man, but, you know, who's going to walk away the winner at this? Is it really worth it? So I close my eyes, count to 5, and all I hear is this thing running away. You know, thump, 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 like really fast like that, man. You can hear it. You're breaking trees. You can hear him running. So I open my eyes, look around. There's a footprint in the sand there. I don't care about that, man. You know, I had my cell phone and my hunting gear with me, and I didn't even think once to grab it because this thing was too fucking scary. So, you know, I get out of there, right? I get out of there, same as before. Start running back to the truck. You know, I know I'm not supposed to run because, you know, that triggers their predatory instincts, right? All animals on planet Earth may have that. And it made sense in them. They see it as weakness. And I don't care because I'm too scared. I'm alone. I haven't told anybody where I'm going. And, I just want to get away. You know, this thing left. I figure I gotta get out of here too. You know, I get in my truck, same thing as before. You know, pedal to the metal all the way home, and don't even remember getting home. The only thing I remember is pulling into my driveway and glad I was home. I got my kids together, brought them in the house, kept them with me over the next couple of days. I work shit out in my head, man. And those are my 2 encounters that I've had. Thanks.
Chris, thank you for sharing that. It's absolutely incredible that you were able to make it through that.
Yeah, you know, when I tell people around my community what I've seen and stuff like that, you know, I'm very well known here. You know, people know I don't make things up and stuff like that, so they know I saw what I saw.
There's no question about that for sure. Have there been other people that have seen similar things in the same area?
Oh my God, yeah. You know, we have them right here in the community now.
In the community?
Yeah. Like my wife went to go take care of her aunt's, her apartment here, her house. Just because the aunt was gone on, some business trip, she wanted somebody to stay there with a cat and watch the house so nobody breaks in, kind of thing, right? So she went there, stayed there overnight. She came home. Went to go pick her up. And when we went to go pick her up, there was these tracks underneath the window where they were staying, you know, the big picture window. And then Ginger, my wife was saying, the cat was being so strange. He wouldn't come out from under the bed. That cat was, like a very loving cat. He got along with everybody. Eh? It's very unusual for that cat. And we've seen those prints. And she didn't even know. She, no, I didn't feel nothing. I didn't see anything. And at the elders complex we have here in our community, because an elder, he always goes up walking around in the woods behind his building there. He takes videos and pictures and everything. He's got all kinds of sign out there, tree breaks. We don't care about those. Anything can make those, right? But, he's got these little teepee structures and all those kind of weird symbols. Yeah. The other time my wife and I went out hunting, we went to this place called Ghost Mountain, which is very close to our community. And it was on the road where, I went to found this spot by Ghost Mountain. I said, okay, we're going to hunt for moose here. I got one here before. So we got out, put our chairs up, sitting out there, started calling moose. My wife tugs on my shoulder and looked over and said, what? She points up in a tree and about, I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 feet off the ground. And this big birch tree is a bunch of skinned partridges hanging on the very tips of the smallest branches, like little Christmas balls, almost. I thought, oh my God, isn't that weird, So I parked my truck underneath it and I hopped up way on top of the cab trying to reach these things, and I can't reach them. So, okay, whatever, that's, maybe somebody did that, we don't know. But, she got this weird feeling. It's like, no, I'm really scared. We gotta go. So, we left. And then another time, our youth counselor here in the community was walking through a little patch of woods on her way home. It was about midnight. She was just coming home from her friends. So she's walking through this little wood patch. And, she's walking in the dark. She's got a little lighter. She's flicking for light, right? And about halfway through the woods, she sees these two red eyes, about 6 inches apart, staring at her, 12 feet off the ground. She screamed. She ran all the way home, and that thing chased her all the way home until it hit the house lot. It would not come up into the open, she said, And our local dump here, people see them all the time, like in the summertime there. People are just going to drop off their garbage, right? Oh, yeah, I've seen a bear running on 2 legs. It's got to be a bear. There's no such thing as Bigfoot. But they see these things and they deny them. Some people, not every people know, oh, yeah, that's just Sasquatch, man. That's our brother. It's our protector. We know him. Yeah, there's a lot of little stories like that I can tell you about our community here. I just don't want to take up too much time on this live stream. I don't want to hog all your time.
I think we're good. Has anyone ever actually gotten a video or photo of any of the creatures near your community?
No, there's no actual pictures of these things, just tracks and stuff like that, eh?
Gotcha. There was a question that came in, and I'm going to say it a certain way. Thinking back to when you were able to really look into the face of the creature during your encounters, did that remind you of anything that you've seen before in the realm of Bigfoot or anything like that?
Well, the very first thought that popped in my mind was like a deformed human in the eyes, right? And the deep, deep wrinkles in its forehead. That skin on its forehead was so loose. It was, weird. I've never seen that before. But the very first thought popped in my mind was demon, just because how scary this fucking thing is. Sorry for my language. It's very emotional recalling these things because, these things are still out here.
Yeah.
I don't even go out hunting anymore because of that. I'll go out in the daytime with people, but because I used to go out hunting at night as well, but no way I'll do that anymore, because of that thing. That thing got so close to me. It could have had me for long, and it could have grabbed me at any time,
Have there been...
I was fully aware.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask, are there any situations that have come up over the years where those creatures, like the Sasquatch, became aggressive to individuals in the community, or there is any like violent interactions or anything like that?
No, I've asked around, I've asked the elders, the hunters in the community. They say no, they yell and scream. They'll chase, but that's about it, They won't hurt you. That's what they say, but they weren't as close as I was. And when I seen that thing, man, that thing gave off a death flag, 100% predator. I kid you not.
Was there any hair on the face at all?
No.
Okay. I was just going to ask a few random questions about, did you notice anything, any details about like the shape of the head at all?
Yeah, it wasn't combed.
Okay.
It wasn't in the shape of a bear. And a lot of people say, it's just a bear. You're just misidentifying a mangy bear, right? But I've been hunting way too long to make that kind of mistake, man. I've been hunting all my life. I've lived out here all my life. I know everything that's in these woods. Well, I thought I did. But the head was like, it wasn't cone shaped, but it was kind of like an egg almost, because it was like an upside down egg almost.
Did you notice anything particular about when you saw the teeth at all?
No, it's just that they were worn down, right? They were cracked, they were stained yellow. When his teeth were together, they locked perfectly together, just like a shark would, man. Yeah. I've been looking online for the closest thing that I can get to it is on Jesus, what's that? I think it's called World Bigfoot Radio. There's a white Sasquatch on there.
Okay.
But they miss it as a Wendigo. Gotcha. What I seen was not a Wendigo, that was a Sasquatch.
Are there other things that you have to deal with in your community besides Sasquatch, or is that the main thing that you have to be aware of up there?
No, when I was a teenager, there was some weird stuff that would happen, I don't know, the one where my wife was in the room with her son. They were sleeping. He was just a baby. She was just laying in bed sleeping. And she said something woke her up, right? She opened her eyes and there was this shadow thing there flying over the bed, hovering over her bed. She started screaming for me because I was in the living room watching TV. And this thing had, I said, well, what did you see? Why are you screaming? Oh, there was something here that was floating over the bed and had glowing eyes that were sparkling like stars. But it disappeared when you came down the hall and turned on the light. I didn't see it anymore. So there's stuff like that, right? In our medicine, people say we have a rock here in our community, a pretty big boulder. It's a granite boulder. And because I was on the chief and council, we were going to move that rock. We were going to destroy it, right? Bury it or blow it up. medicine man was doing a workshop in the community center right beside this rock. A bunch of us pulled up there and we're discussing about this rock, right? And he comes out, this medicine man from Six Nations. He's a Mohawk. Hey, you guys, what are you guys doing over there? And told him, we're getting ready to get rid of this rock, it's an eyesore. Oh, no, you can't do that, I prayed over there. I felt energy coming from there. He says, well, I looked at him, what are you talking about, man? It's a rock, right? Well, no, it's not just a rock. There's little people in there. There's a spirit in there. If you destroy that rock, bad things are going to happen in your community. And just the fact that he's a medicine man, we have to honor that, right? So we never did blow it up. But that rock, kids go there all the time, they play on it. They have lunch and stuff there, they play around it all the time. Yeah, just things like that,
Oof. And you say it's granite?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. That's very interesting. There's something I want to address. So I have the map up as well on YouTube. Is it near the Ghost Range, or you said Ghost Mountain, or is that completely different area?
Ghost Mountain, yeah.
So that is near Ghost Range then?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see here. Oh, have you had any like missing person cases around your area?
Oh, no. We're way too small a community for that. If anybody ever went missing here, we'd all go searching, right?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Sure.
Happens for people.
Sure. So it sounds like it's a very small community then.
Oh, yeah, it's tiny. Yeah.
Gotcha. Going back to, there's a question from the chat real quick. What color were the eyes again of the Sasquatch?
Pure black.
Wow. Now that is scary
Yeah,
stuff.
They look so different compared to the ones out west. If I saw a Sasquatch from out west, I'd be like, cool, man,
Uh-huh.
I'd walk up to it, try and communicate with it and everything. But not the ones around here, man, no way. Those are supermodels out there compared to what we have here.
Right. They're like they're the ones on the greeting cards out there.
Yeah.
There's another question from the chat. Do you ever see UFO activity in your area?
Oh, yes, we have that too, yeah.
Okay. Just like orbs or actual UFOs flying around, or?
Well, we've seen UFOs flying around. What we think is UFOs because, they accelerate and decelerate so fast, eh? Can't be human technology, man.
Sure.
People talk about that all the time here. Oh, yeah, it's a UFO. Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah.
Oh, what kind of, what shapes are they usually seen as?
They just look like lights to us, eh?
Okay.
Yeah. The only one that really comes to mind is someone's seen this black triangle floating over in their house.
Oh.
Whisper quiet, just float there. This boy, he wasn't a kid, he was a teenager. He was 17 years old. He was biking home, pulling his driveway, and bam, there's this black floating triangle with red lights on it over his house.
But there were lights on it?
Yeah, on the bottom, he said, yeah.
3 of them?
What did you do, man? I just threw my bike down, I ran in my house, ran in my room, closed the blinds, locked the door, and, played my game, man. I don't want to deal with that.
Ooh. That's some scary stuff right there.
Yeah, there's always high strangeness and reservations.
Have you guys ever run into any creatures there at all, or maybe in stories where it's like a kind of like a white humanoid type creature, very skinny, very pale?
No, nothing like that.
Okay, good. That's a good thing.
No.
Because those are not a good deal.
The only other thing we have is this thing called a Wendigo.
Sure.
But it's been long since our people have seen that. We haven't seen that here since, I don't know, within the last 100 years, because in order to become a chief of our First Nation, like a long time ago, you had to actually go out and slay one of these things and bring back proof to your people, right?
Really?
You had to show your people, I mean, I killed this thing. Here's the evidence. You know, I'm the chief now. Anybody wants to take that away from me, well, you got to go do what I did, right?
That I'd never heard of that. That's really interesting. So that is a thing that doesn't happen anymore?
No.
Okay. Mike in the chat, and thank you, Mike, for being a YouTube channel member. He's asking, is this in the Timmins area of Ontario?
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say is near Timmins, yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, we don't want to, give anything.
No, because, we have helicopters here, and I don't know what those are, but nobody ever knows what they're doing, right?
Oh,
I used to work Lands and Resources to be here.
Okay.
And our band members were saying, why are these black choppers flying around? What's going on? Chris, go find out what's going on. Right. So I called the local Air Force there in Timmins and said, hey, we got these black choppers out here and nobody knows what's going on. Can you guys fill us in? And the person I was speaking to said, oh, that's the armed forces. I said, the armed forces? He says, yeah. I'll tell you what they do is they just come into our airport, they commandeer our hangar, and that's all we know.
So
we don't know what they do. We don't know where they go.
They kick you out of your hangar, and you don't know what they're doing in there.
No, their hangar.
Oh, their hangar.
At the Timmins Airport. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a military base close to where you guys are at?
I don't know. There is not. There's old military bases around here, but they're like decommissioned. Eh?
Oh, okay. So it's like just like an Air Force area, you're saying, or?
Yeah.
Wow. Something's going on out there, dude. Well, obviously, because what you've said, obviously something is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, I appreciate you calling in and sharing what you've seen, the stories from your community, and it's very special that you're able to share those, because I know a lot of times you don't hear a lot about situations like that. But Chris, you're always welcome to reach out. You can always email me directly if you need to. Bigfoot Society at gmail.com if you ever have any other interesting things happen in the future. But thank you for calling in, definitely.
Yeah, no problem. I just want to say that, the only reason why I want to share my encounters is just to bring awareness to people that, even the skeptics, man, seeing is believing, right? And I hope you don't have to, but that's probably the only proof that they're going to take. And everybody else that do believe in them, they are real, man.
Absolutely.
Gary, just please be careful. Please be careful. And with that, I'll bid you guys all a good night.
Thank you for calling, Chris. Well, you have a good day, man.
All right, take care.
That was absolutely wild. My goodness. Tonight has been probably the best live episode we have ever had on this show. I'm just blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. This is crazy. Chris, thank you so much for calling in. I mean, guys, you don't hear stuff from small First Nation communities like that in northern Canada. Let me look again. Let's see. Yeah, that's where it is. Wild stuff. Thank you so much for being here tonight. There's almost 80 people in here still. We've been going for over 2 hours. It's getting late though, and I appreciate you all being here. Holy mackerel! What is this? Should we call back another one? Someone tell me in the chat if we should call back someone else. Yeah, all right. Leia's Lair is saying yes. All right, guys. Get your coffee. I'm going to play the intro again while I get queued up. And I'm going to take a walk around. All right, we're back. We actually just got a call at the end of the one from Chris. So I'm going to see. I don't think this is a phone number that let me see. Nope. All right, let's see.
Hello?
Hi, this is Jeremiah. How's it going?
Hey, Jeremiah, this is Rhonda.
Oh, is this Rhonda from YouTube?
Yes, from YouTube.
Oh my goodness, no way, Rhonda. Wow.
I'm a little tired. I've worked all week, so
okay.
I've multiple things that are going on up here in Western North Carolina.
Sorry, real quick, Rhonda, you filled out the guest release form, right?
Of course, yeah.
Of course, great. Okay, yeah, Rhonda, I'm going to go ahead and give it right over to you. The floor is yours, and we may have some questions at the end, but feel free to share what you'd like, Rhonda.
Okay, since this is a Bigfoot podcast and all cryptids, because I've had everything from orbs to alien grays. There's this mountain up here. I'm outside of Wilkesboro, North Carolina, that I go up to a lot with my dogs. I don't know. I'm kind of tired and I'm kind of stressed. But anyhow, I go up and down this mountain a lot, and it's called Rendezvous Mountain. And there's a Native American waterfall there and everything. You know, I just drive up this mountain to get up there with my dogs and hang out and, you know, just talk to God or whatever. And on this one afternoon, come down the mountain, and it's at this time of the year, too. It was like a couple of days before my birthday, March 2022, at the end of March. I went up there again today to see what I could find or whatnot. I found, all sorts of stuff up there. But anyhow, coming back down the mountain, it's got all these switchbacks. There's one way up and one way down. But if you get on top of the mountain, it goes forever. You could run into the Blue Ridge Parkway. They've only got a certain part of the mountain open for people to go and hike. So coming back down, I'm like, what is that big, stone? What's there? I've never seen that before. And then I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm looking and I'm driving the mountain. I've got Chip sitting up front, my little Beezy in the back. I'm like, is that teeth? Is that teeth? The mouth was gigantic and not stone. It was like a boulder. This creature had to be between anywhere to 600 to 800 pounds. So I get right up on it. And, because I'm coming down the mountain, it's to the left of me. And I'm like, wait a minute. And so it's so hard to explain. So it's like the creature is laying on its stomach. I see it eat. And the middle part of its face is hidden, like behind a tree. Why it's trying to hide at 700 to 800 pounds, who knows? But then I made eye contact with it. And then that's when my heart just, went right to my feet. I'm like, oh my God, this is a monster. I'm looking at a monster, and as soon as I took off down the mountain. I'm like 45. I'm like, let me slow down. Let me slow down a little bit because I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to go right off the mountain. But when I got to the bottom, I was texting everybody. I'm like, nobody's going to believe me. Nobody's going to believe me. I ran into creature. But anyhow, let me go back a little bit to about, a year or two prior. Me and my son, if you could pull Wilkesboro, Miller's Creek up on your map, you would be able to tell. I live off of 16, but there's an old 16 too, which me and my son, he used to go around with me a lot, looking for different kinds and stuff. And one time around 11:30 at night, we did like a big loop. And so ever seeing this creature up here, we have heard whistles going through old 16. I don't care. It's called Rendezvous Mountain. It's outside of Wilkesboro, Miller's Creek. And you'll see Rendezvous Mountain. And there's a old 16 too, and that'll get up into Jefferson and everything, and that's where we heard the whistles. But prior to me seeing this creature going around the mountain, because we would go out like real late at night, me and my son, between 11 and 3 a.m., driving around looking, seeing what we could find. And one night we're coming up to the base of Rendezvous Mountain, and my son's like, what the heck is that? I'm like, what? He's like, those lights. And it was a red orb and a white orb. And the white orb was chasing the red orb. And we stopped in the middle of the road, and we just watched. And once it figured that we were watching it, they started to come towards us. Then my son freaked out and drove off. I'm like, Nate, turn around, dang it. Turn around. We're never going to find out what it is. But he wouldn't turn around. But also with this mountain where I've seen the creature, right in the area where I've seen the creature at, there's like glitches, like a glitch in time. Like sometimes I'll start getting a panic attack. And I thought, well, maybe it's just me. But I felt like it was taking a long time to come off the mountain. Like I was driving over the same part of the road again and again, It's hard to explain. And I took my son up there, my other son. I have 3 boys, and then my oldest is a girl. They're in their late 20s. And I took my son, who's autistic, up there with me. He has Asperger's. And, oh, my God, we've had so many things happen in the last 10 years. But I took him up there with me. I don't try to, I don't want to scare him or anything. He knows I have seen Bigfoot. But then we were coming down the mountain, and he's like, does it seem like that we're not coming off the mountain, that it's taken longer to come off the mountain? I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. He has Asperger's, which is high functioning autism. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought maybe, it's like glitches. Now, I could tell you some other stuff that seems just really crazy. I've reached out to a couple other shows, but nobody's really, it's crazy. If I tell you what has happened to me, it's just, even thinking about what I'm about ready to tell you, I know how crazy it seems.
I mean, go ahead. Just don't get me kicked off YouTube.
Oh no, it's bad.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to curse or anything like that.
Sure.
No, when we first moved here up into the mountains, we came down from Michigan, which I've had experiences up in Michigan too. That's why I'm beginning to wonder if like me, if I'm a conduit for these things. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. If I just attract these things. But when I first moved down here from Michigan with my boys, my daughter wanted me to come here. And the first house we moved in, we're out in the woods in the middle of, nowhere. And one night, I was just meditating and everything and just contemplating stuff and just really meditating and singing this mantra, which people would say that would be evil or whatever. Anyhow, something started to speak to me telepathically. And I'm like, whoa, and it wasn't like it was speaking. Whatever it was making me feel about the plant and the earth and the creatures, and there's not much time left, but there's a chance to fix what we've done. And I'm like, well, God, this is really intense. And I was drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes at the laptop, late at night. So I went back in my bedroom, because that's where my bathroom's at, to go to the bathroom. And this shouldn't get you kicked out. But I was sitting, getting ready to get up and wipe. And I was like, old country house. The windows are all open back there, curtains blowing. And I'm like, wait, I should be able to see a light out the back window. And then all of a sudden, it came through the back window, and it was an alien gray. And its eyes were gigantic. It had a classical shaped head. It didn't have a bridge for a nose. It had 2 little dots. And in my mind, I was thinking it had a little tiny mouth. I'm like, well, good. It's not going to eat me, but I need to get past my window to get out of this bedroom. So I jumped in the bathtub, and I was screaming, banging on the wall to get the boys to come help me, But I'm like, oh, God, nobody's coming. So I ran past it. I told the boys about it, and they're like, well, we didn't hear you screaming. We heard nothing. And I was in absolutely shock. And then after that, things started to happen. My son, who is autistic, things were happening good and bad at house. It was like Pandora's box had been open, and we started to have portals open up in the house where there'd be like big flashes of light, like something was trying to open up in the house. I probably should have wrote everything down, but I saw that you were on, so I'm like, dang it, I'm just going to call them. I'm just going to call. So I'm not really putting everything that has happened to me in order, because I've also had portals try to open up, and I'm a Christian. I believe in God and the white light. I'm not, any. So I don't know. I've had multiple things happen. I don't know if it's these mountains or if it's me or what.
So,
but go ahead,
Rhonda. So the area, well, it's not. I don't know how close it is, but what do you know about Moravian Falls?
I'm not too far from Moravian Falls. I'm about 20 minutes.
Okay. Because
I don't really know too much of it.
Allegedly, that area is really well known for portals and just really weird stuff. So I'm not surprised that you're having stuff happen like you're having.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I think I heard you mention it one night on your show. But it's so, after I've had that thing with the alien gray, I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds nuts, but it happened. It seems like I've been more in tune with things, or something's been more in tune with me. I've even had an encounter with I know this is going to sound crazy, with a little person.
Really?
Too. In the house across the street. So we had the alien thing happen, and then portal in there, and then things tried to attack my son, who's autistic. And then we moved, and when we moved, it seemed to follow us.
Mm.
And then I moved again to this brick house, which I'm right across the street from the brick house now. And then that's the bottom of Rendezvous Mountain. So me and the kids cleaned up that forest back there, because there was like old beer cans and stuff like that. So we cleaned up the forest, and I kept having my basement door kept, we're out in the middle of nowhere. I'm not really afraid of me breaking in or anything like that. And I have 3 boys living with me, and we have weapons, it's a shotgun, So my basement door kept getting, it wouldn't shut. It became broke. And we never went down in the basement, so I just put a brick up against it, and then you go up the steps, and I just, put a padlock on that door. Nobody went there. So then the back door started to where I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, why is my back door broken now? And it won't shut all the way. And so I just slide a brick up against it. So one night I'm sleeping in my back bedroom. I'm thinking I was watching a Bigfoot show, and it's late at night, and I'm looking. I can see my TV, but I can see my doorway too. And this is just what I think. I think they were very happy we pulled out 5 bags of trash out of the woods and cleaned it up, So it was really quick. It was about 2 feet tall, dark hair, dark little round eyes, and he looked around the corner at me and looked back. And I'm like, okay, just, one more weird thing to go with everything else. I don't tell people about that, too much, but, that's another thing. So I worked at the little grocery store up here. So I talk to everybody. Everybody knows me. I'm a Bigfoot lady. I got Bigfoot all over the back of my car. I talk to everybody. So the park ranger that works up at Rendezvous Mountain, he's been up there 20 years. Now they did the March 2022, when I had my Bigfoot sighting, that week was their last week up there. The state took it over. And they took out a lot of the trees up there where I seen my Bigfoot sighting. So he comes through my lane all the time. Pardon me. And I'm like, okay, so we get to talking. He's like, yes. He admitted to me that crew is up there, And there's multiple other things that happen up there. He was up there like 25 years and then retired, when the state took it over, which I thought was, just kind of crazy. And that right where I had my sighting, they took out a lot of the trees and everything. But I talk to them all the time. And I've talked to multiple people that live around there that have had Bigfoot sightings. I'm like an investigator without going deep in.
Rhonda, I love it because you're all about a certain area and you are talking to everyone. Like you're getting all the knowledge. It's so good.
I used to work at the Olive Garden. I'm below the knee amputee, by the way. I'm below the amputee, and I have a broken scapula, but that doesn't stop me.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I climb mountains. I'm a tough old bird.
Wow,
but,
good for you.
There was something I was going to say. I need to really put everything together, but I've been taught. Oh, I was working when I first got here at the Olive Garden. I know you're one-legged waitress, right? But
as long as
you
can still get me breadsticks, right? Like, I'm just kidding.
I probably can't, but we could probably get you some at the food line, darling.
All right, thanks.
But all right, now I was talking to a girl one night, and I mean this is like 4 years ago. I worked there for 2 years, and she's like, Miss Rhonda. Now we're talking on the other side of the dam. And that would be 268 in Wilkesboro. And she's like, I was coming home at 11 o'clock at night. Now, she wouldn't know this, unless you really follow Bigfoot. She's just 22 years old, just a little country girl. She's like, my windows broke on my car. They wouldn't roll up. She's like, I was coming home at 11:30 at night, and a white Bigfoot was walking through somebody's yard. So up here, everything's dark. There's no road lights. If you got a light in your yard, that's, your yard light. So, I mean, I've talked to multiple people, and I'm supposed to go with this one lady on her property. I don't know what I'm doing. But she lives down around the mountain, too. And her brother was standing on their back porch. And she's like, one day, he was like, what's that? What's that up there? And she's like, it was about a hand, as big as a big black frying pan, just swooping. She's like, I don't know what it was doing, but it was just swooping up at the trees. So, but I had a portal try to open up at that house over there too one night. When I woke up in the middle of the night, I'm like, well, I just had a really crazy dream. I'm like, if there's anything here, give me a sign. And my son come running down the hallway. It was like 2:30 in the morning. He was like 22 then. And you heard a big, right next to me, clack. He come running. He's like, what the heck was that? I said, I don't know, but give me my leg, grab all my stuff, and I'm sleeping in the living room tonight. But, yeah, I've had multiple. I don't know what has happened first sometimes. Just little stuff happens all the time. But that Moravian Falls, now that you've told me that, I'm off in 3 days. I'm gonna take a ride out there.
Yeah, you should look into it. I haven't really looked into it, but I've heard enough that there's some wild stuff that happens there. But you were saying the park rangers said there's other stuff that happens up on Rendezvous as well?
Yeah, he told me. He wouldn't exactly tell me because I'm waiting on people. People are coming through my line, and people are like behind them. I'm watching you on TV and talking to you, so
gotcha.
Okay, and so he just said the veil is very thin up there.
This dude, Rhonda, I gotta talk to. You gotta get this guy my info. I gotta talk to this guy.
I know, right? So he comes through my lane all the time. So I just like peck at things, and he invited me to go to this church thing one night, but I'm Christian. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ, but I believe things are happening a little bit differently than what we think they may be happening, if that makes any sense. And I'm tired tonight. I didn't know I was going to call you. But so, I like to keep all my doors open as far as spirituality.
Sure.
And, but I will try to. But I don't go back again till Wednesday. I took a couple of days off. But yeah, I've been wanting to see you, but I know how crazy everything that I have had happen to me, that I don't do well with people like, oh, she's crazy, or if I read the comments or something, because I know these things are happening to me,
Absolutely. No, I think it's awesome. Feel free to pass my info out to any of the people that you're talking to around Rendezvous that are having issues happening. But I have a question for you. Do you have an idea of why all this crazy stuff happens around Rendezvous? Is it maybe a ley line in the area or anything like that?
I was thinking about a ley line, but I don't know how to look up exactly where the ley lines are, or I've got little bits of pieces in my brain of little ideas, I don't know. How would you look up where the ley line are?
So I'm definitely not the expert on this. If anyone in the chat knows if there's an actual map, because I've looked for this and I can't find like this is the actual map of ley lines in the U.S. There seems to be a few different ones and they're all a little different. So you just kind of got to Google it, I guess. But
I tried looking like you, because I'm always okay. Either when stuff starts happening to you, or like when I had the alien encounter, I went into quantum physics and look, I do basic math.
Right.
I'm like, oh my, I'm giving myself a headache jumping into all this. So I don't know. There was a point I was going to make. Like I said, I'm tired, but I forgot. But anyhow, I just wanted to put it out there. I'm trying to find somebody that would be willing to go with me and do research. I mean, I tell everybody about it, and I'm a great. But then when I'm like, hey, you got to pick up? Do you want to go at 2 in the morning? And they're like, no, I'm scared. I just want to get out there and find out, what's going on, at least with just my area, because that's what I can do.
Exactly. Hold on. Look at this real quick.
Don't tell me there's a ley line.
Well, this is why I need your help, Rhonda, and I'm not making a joke there. Okay, so there's North Carolina, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm guessing it's the red lines, right?
Wait a minute. I can't. I'm looking at your... Yeah. Where are we at? Okay, yeah, I see your arrow. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. I'm right up in the corner.
Okay.
Right there. That's right where a ley line's going across. Do you see that? Right across Wilkesboro.
There, Rhonda, there
That's
you go.
Crazy.
Okay, hats off to
crazy.
Who was this? David. Nice work, David, for asking that question. So there you go. Ley line map. Your ley line goes right over your area. Boom.
Well, listen, if there's anybody, look, I am harmless. I'm not. I got one leg danging and a broken back. But no, it's just my scapula's broke. I can do anything. But if there's anybody in my area curious, because I got an old beat-up car right now. I'm driving a, I mean, Bigfoot could probably eat my car. It's a Honda Civic. you know what I mean? That's what I was afraid. this creature that I made eye contact with me, its forehead, I think I went into shock a little bit too, but I would also, I don't know, I would like somebody to put me under as far as, oh my God, you're going to think I'm so crazy. Because along with the alien thing, I've had encounters of being taken aboard.
Oh, really?
A ship. I know, it's crazy. I know it's crazy. But it oh, God, this one encounter, I woke up on this ship, okay? It's like I'm in a movie theater. Just was.
Don't get me shut down, Rhonda.
No,
okay.
It's like a movie theater.
Okay.
All right? And there's like 350 people in this room. And it's like looking down, like if you were sitting in seats. Everybody's looking straight ahead in a trance. And I'm like, oh, my God, where am I at? I look at the guy next to me. Everybody's eyes are open, but they're in a trance. I'm like, I've got to get out of here. So I move past the people to go up and get out. I can go either to the left or to the right. It's kind of like organic. It's like really low lighting. The walls are like a light brown. I'm like, so I go to the right, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is really, if I'm being taken aboard a ship. It could have something to do with, who knows? I don't know. And the classic where you see the white room up top and the light's really bright and you can't see anything, then that's it. That's all I remember. But this is the thing. This is the crazy thing. So I belong to the YMCA, and I like to take my grandbabies there and everything. So we're walking up from the Y to check out. Now, this is real. I'm out in my sleep, walking, and I see a family up front. And it's a guy and the wife and 2 kids. The guy looks at me, and we make eye contact. And it's a guy that was sitting next to me on the ship. That's crazy.
Really? Oh, wow.
That's crazy. There could be multiple things going on. The world is so crazy right now. And, they say we're trying to go from the 3rd into the 4th dimension, and that's, I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of crazy shows lately just to try to make some sense.
I love it.
But
oh my!
But that's
goodness.
not the only anchor with the alien grave as far as being on a ship. They showed me these. I know this is crazy. They showed me like the same thing that your baby's born in, your sac. They showed me these pods.
Oh, wow.
And in these pods, I think they're doing experiments on humanity, because there's 5 little beings to a pod, and those beings look like me, but they're 3 foot tall. Big eyes, classic big black eyes. Weird. I'm like, okay, God. And then where's God fit into everything? Where's even God fit into everything with the cryptids? Thank God I've never seen a dog man, and I never want to. Little people, aliens, and Bigfoot is enough to hold me over, But I'm serious. And people are walking around with their rose-colored glasses on,
Yeah, they don't see it.
Well, I think something big's getting ready to happen, and I think it's going to happen in the year 2026. Don't ask me how I know. I think it's going to be big, and I think it's going to be God-like, and I think we all should be looking to the skies.
I don't know if I don't know if it'll even take that long, to be honest, Rhonda.
I don't know. I don't know. I've been kind of down today, so I wrote up on. I rode up on Rendezvous Mountain today, which is there's people don't go up there that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's not a lot of people that go up there. And I rode up there. I'm like, okay, give me something, dang it. I mean, you can either go crazy or you can just try to figure things out.
Absolutely. Oh, man.
So
this has been, I mean, listeners need to realize that I've been wanting to talk to Rhonda for, I would say, probably at least a year. You've been leaving incredible stuff
I
in the
know,
comments.
and I felt really bad.
I knew it would happen
and,
eventually.
My two favorite shows is you, Bigfoot Society, and of course, you know, and Hellbent Holler. But you guys are my two favorites.
Thank you. That's so nice to be in that company. I could see you really loving Hellbent Holler for sure. I mean, dude, have you told Jesse and Joe about what's happening on Rendezvous Mountain?
I try to tell them a little bit,
man.
but, you know, I'm out of their area. And I know how crazy all this sounds. You think if somebody came up to me saying, oh, yeah, I was on a spaceship last night and
Well, you know.
saw a little person, I'd be like, okay, what are you smoking? But, you know, it's true. All this is happening. And I don't think it's necessarily a thing, and maybe some of it could be. I think this ain't our first go-around with trying to be humans on this planet. I don't think we're allowed to destroy it. I don't think that's another thing. So after the alien thing, and see more stuff like I remember or forget, like the first month I could feel vibrations and everything. Like I would be like asking my voice, do you feel it? Do you feel the floor vibrating? Do you feel the counter vibrating? And then it started to rain one day, and I'm like, oh my God, I was hypersensitive. I could hear each raindrop hitting the leaves outside and making music.
That's wild.
I'm like, look, I wasn't on any, I don't drink. I smoke cigarettes and drink coffee. That's about the same, but that's it, you know? I mean, and then it's just hypersensitivity and to smell. I don't know. But now that I'm in touch with you, I talked to, right before, God bless his heart, I belonged to them for a long time, before he passed away. I talked to Daniela on Bigfoot Odyssey.
Yeah, right. Yep. Yep.
And then a week later, he passed.
Kerry Arnold,
You know?
Yeah.
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 And then, you know, everybody goes into their own grief and everything. So.
Yeah.
But I talked to her for about 2 hours. We FaceTime.
Yeah.
She's like, is that it? Is that all you have? Yeah, that's it.
That's fine.
But keep in touch with me. And like I said, it's cold and windy up here tonight. I'm just going to keep doing this little area. And maybe I'll be able to find somebody to go out with me now that it's getting a little warmer. If not, then I'm going to grab the Chihuahua and the Pit Bull, and we're going Bigfoot.
There you go. It's like Lyle Blackburn says, become the expert of the weird thing in your area. You know, that's what's near you. Be the expert of it. So I think he's on the right track for sure. But Rhonda, it has been such a pleasure chatting with you finally. Definitely keep in touch. Let me know if any new Bigfoot things that happen with Rendezvous Mountain in North Carolina. And thank you so much for calling.
I'm going to go check Arabian Falls. Yeah, and I'll
definitely.
let you know. And just keep in touch with you, Jeremiah.
All
I
right.
do love you, and I love your show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling in.
All right, sweetie. Have a good night.
You too, Rhonda. Holy mackerel. Yeah, it's craziest night ever. So we got to get to bed. Thank you all for hanging out, guys. Real quick, if this is your first time hanging out with Bigfoot Society, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon because I do these nights randomly. But it's been probably the craziest night so far. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. We're on all major podcast platforms, Bigfoot Society. If you've had a Bigfoot encounter and you want to share it with me and perhaps come on the podcast, you can email me directly at bigfootsociety@gmail.com. If you'd like to go deeper and become a part of the community, you can become a YouTube channel member and you can watch channel episodes early without ads. We also have members only episodes, one every week. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society. There are 11 spots left at $3 a month. And then the $3 tier is going to close and it goes up a little higher. But that's a way to support the podcast. You get the members only episodes. You get we have a member hangout the end of the month over Google Hangouts. We have jeez, what the heck? Yeah, no. And yeah, so if you want to support the channel, you can do that. But I am exhausted and I am going to sleep. Hopefully you all can too. Leia's Lair, thank you for being a YouTube channel member. And let's see. Manny, thank you for being a YouTube channel member as well. Good night, all. Yes, Gene. Good times, all. Good night. We'll see you later, guys, and have a good one.